the layaway is over. I know it's been like a week since I made a video, but welcome to the Aggie Juice, okay? We're going to talk Aggie football today. Pretty simple. It's what we're going to do every single time, all right? Mike Elko, he had an interview with Pickle. He had a press conference yesterday. So we got a few things to talk about. But the main one for me is, and it stands out, and especially stands out to Texas fans because they love to talk about him, but it is Marcel Reed, okay? You saw a tremendous jump from year one of Marcel playing football, not as a red shirt, but 2 years ago. You saw a severe good jump from year one to year two, okay? He was battling Weigman, and then he officially took over the job at the LSU game, all right? And we struggled to throw the ball, okay? We didn't have the best passing game. So what do we do in the offseason? You go get KC, you go get Mario Craver, and your wide receiver core takes a big jump in talent and production, and your quarterback also took a big jump in production, okay? And you saw it all year long, all right? The highs for Marcel, just like Mike Elko said, they are very high. He's a premier quarterback in college football when there's highs. But the problem is there's some really bad lows too, all right? But his ceiling, it's not even close to being touched yet. And there's going to be people say, he can't win the big one. Regardless of what he does, he can't win the big one. He can't beat Texas. Well, so far they're not wrong, all right? But the big game I disagree on, all right? His first ever start, he goes into the swamp and beats Florida. Were they a premier team? No. But your first ever start on the road, SEC, first-year head coach, and you get the win, okay? He came in versus LSU trailing, put him in the lead, wins the game. That's all in year one. Did he lose to Texas? Did he lose South Carolina on the road? Yeah, he did. Okay. Year two, you go into Notre Dame, you're 7-point dogs, and you come out on top. On the road. That's a big game to me. That's a big win. Okay. Going into Baton Rouge and taking over LSU. You beat them so bad, they fired the coach and the AD, and so people discredit that win, but at the time, it's still a big game. I don't feel like it was just LSU was bad. No, you physically broke and mentally broke that team. Kind of like the same way Oregon and Penn State. Oregon broke Penn State because Penn State shouldn't have been losing on Northwestern or UCLA. Talent-wise, no, they shouldn't even been on the same field. That's how much better Penn State was, and they lost the game because I feel like they were just broken from the Oregon loss. And then LSU, I mean, they lost to Ole Miss by 5 on the road, okay? And then I can't remember the point score. Anyways, you lose to Vandy on the road also, okay? They're coming off 2 losses on the road versus Ole Miss, who was in the semifinals, and Vanderbilt, who was a fringe playoff team that's barely missing out, okay? And they barely beat you. And then A&M plays them in Baton Rouge, and Marcel and company come in there and just beat the brakes off them. But then you have the Texas game later in the year, and he lost that game. Not A&M lost the game. I'm not saying Marcel lost, but A&M lost the game. So I think the thesis or whatever the word you want to call it is, of Marcel not being able to win the big one that everyone loves to throw out, centers around Texas. He got beat by Texas twice. And they lost to Miami 10-3, and the offense didn't have a good day. All right. But I'm going to go back to the fact he has won some big games. Has he lost some? Yeah. All right. But I'm going to go back to the fact that his potential of what he can be is astronomical. Okay. He is a true dual threat quarterback. He can run it on you with the best of them, and he has an arm. I think his biggest deficiency has been the accuracy and possibly the reads, okay? Like, you'll see him force passes into coverage, and like, why did you do that? But I feel like this offseason, you're going to see a lot of things get better, okay? You saw it from year one to year two. You saw the leaps and jumps of what he could be, okay? Because, like, the whole last season, you're like, he was a Heisman contender all year up until that Texas game when they lost. If they win that Texas game, he's in New York. It's a big if, though. They got to get those things done. But what kind of jump are we going to get from Marcel Reed from last year to next year? Okay. What kind of jump? If he takes another jump like he took from year one of Elko to year last season, he's going to be a Heisman finalist type player. Okay. His thing is he has to be consistent. You have to consistently hit those highs, and that goes for the whole A&M team. Because just like Mike Elko said, when they are hitting their highs, when they're the highs of that team is a national championship contender. The problem is the lows. That's team-wide. It's not just Marcel. It's team-wide. Because when Marcel's playing at his best, he's dang near unstoppable. And y'all can laugh at me, whatever. I'm told you, turn on the film. When he's playing his best ball, he's dang hard to stop, okay? But then you have the moments of the bad. And the bads can come back to bite you. In his first half South Carolina game, okay? Texas game down towards the end. Those a pick, double coverage. Those are things that you can't have happen. But what I'm getting at is I think we're going to see another huge jump from Marcel, all right? Up front, he has a whole new offensive line up front. I think a lot of this hinges on them. But A&M, I mean, they're doing more of these are really talented guys approach, and yet their former schools didn't have them in the best spot type approach, okay? Because 5 guys make an offensive line, not 2 or 3, and I think the LSU, Alabama, South Carolina offensive lines were not the best, okay? Alabama couldn't run the ball. South Carolina hasn't had the best offensive line. And LSU had an awful offensive line. Turn on film versus A&M if you want to see what I'm talking about, okay? But Tyree Adams also didn't play in that game. But you look at, I think it was Mark Passwater, he kind of pointed out where all these LSU offensive line transfers went. Majority of them went to Power 4 or SEC schools. Tyree Adams and Cohen Eccles are coming over from LSU. So was kind of like he said, was it a coaching issue or was it a player issue? And say it was a coaching issue because we've seen the coaching issue. All right, A&M brought in Marcel Reed Adams and Coley. I can't say his last name. They brought in Coley. All right, and the rest of the offensive line was here with Jimbo. All right, and Coley actually got beat out by Naboo, who got hurt in the Notre Dame game in year one of Elko. And you saw the tremendous jump from the last year Jimbo to the first year of Elko. And then you saw another jump with these same guys, the same group, okay? So can Adam Cushing get these offensive line guys into, I've said it already multiple times, I think in every video I've made, on what could this offensive line be? Because the talent is there, the size of these players, like they fit the mold of the position, okay? Tyree Adams, I think he's 6'6", 6'7", something like that, 6'7". And then Wilkin Formby, same type of thing, 6'7", okay? I hate that, but got to do it. Anyways, so you have the body types, you have the athletic traits, and they've started a lot of games. They've seen a lot of football. Can you get the best production out of these guys? Okay, and if you can, I think that only accelerates more what Marcel Reed could be. All right, because it's dangerous. All right, this offensive line can play some good football, and then Marcel takes another jump with these receivers you have, Mario Craver. You bring in a big receiver, which you desperately missed in Isaiah Horton last year, okay? You still got Terry Bussey. Jerome Miles, who was climbing the depth chart before he got hurt, is going to be back. And I don't know if y'all know anything about him. He's a physical freak, okay? Utah 100-meter state record holder, 6'2", 220, can fly. And if you turn on his film, he loves the block too, okay? You don't see that a lot out of guys, okay? At least from the film, I think he likes to block because he's pounding dudes back in Utah, okay? But listen, you have a lot of talent in this receiver room. This offensive line can put things together. You have a lot of talent in the running back room. And Marcel can take that jump. And I think he can because his potential is through the roof. He just has to do it, okay? And we saw a gigantic jump from year 1 to year 2. Can year 3 be the biggest one? That's what we need. I'm not going to, you need Marcel to play good football. And all these other schools, they're going to come at you. Their fans are going to talk trash. Whatever, Marcel can't win, blah, blah, blah. You're not going to win with him. I think you can, okay? I get a lot of the same Dak and Marcel type fan vibes from all that, okay? You can't win with them, blah, blah, blah. He's overrated, blah, 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 blah. But when you see them at their highs, it's untapped type potential, like what could happen, what they could be. And I think Marcel can get there. Like I said earlier, true dual threat. He can sling it. I think just majority of his problems come with more of the brain than the on field. Okay, the forcing the throws, and then you have the accuracy problems here and there. I think we really struggled with the deep ball. We didn't truly have that element. We were going to hit you for a 8 to 12-yard pass, and we might take it 60 type team rather than throwing for the 60-yarder. The one that really pops out to me is the deep ball to Craver. Oh, my mic's break. Anyway, the deep ball to Craver versus Florida. Okay, we need more of those. All right, so we're gonna definitely. I think the two biggest ones, you get the accuracy, especially on the deep balls or the short, quick screens. Mexican food creeping up on me. You get the short, quick screens, like you saw the pick against Auburn on just a quick screen, and then you get the deep balls down. And more of, they call them one read, whatever. I don't believe all that. But anyways, Hallman, Wiggins, Hallman. How do things progress? And I really like the way that they could be. There's a lot of if and what can happen. See, last year, I felt the same way about our defensive line. Okay, I felt like there was so much potential. It's just what can happen in the pass rush terms of things. But like the bottom is really low, but the high is really high. And for the most part, A&M got the really highs out of it. Cassius Howe worked his way to a first-round pick. TJ Searcy was solid. Dayon Hayes was solid. You had a great pass rush, top 5 in the country. I feel the same way about this offense, specifically Marcel Reed and this offensive line. You could have a very good offensive line. You could have a very, very good quarterback. But they got to reach their highs and stay at their highs and not fall down to their lows. Okay. Whew. Speaking of the offensive line, are these 4 transfers they brought in like guaranteed starters? Okay. And I'm not going to say that they are, because Mike Elko talked about it. He said, you're bringing in these guys with 3 years or more around experience. They've started a lot of games. And then you got young guys who are going into year 2, year 3 that want that opportunity to start. And you're going to have a lot of competition. And I love that. Okay. Nobody's guaranteed anything. So which one of these guys can maybe at A&M push these transfers for playing time? Okay. Because A&M rotates their offensive line anyways. That's one thing that is kind of weird to me. But anyways, they rotate the offensive line, and you're going to see multiple guys play. You're going to see about 7 guys probably play on the offensive line. And your front 5, you just look at it on paper right now. You probably got Adams, Eccles at left guard, Naboo at center, and then Baugh at right guard and Formby at right tackle. Okay. But what if one of these guys like Lamont Rogers can push them? Jeez, I cannot talk today. Holy crap. What if a guy like Lamont Rogers, a former 5-star, can push one of these guys for playing time? What if he can slide into guard and possibly be out Cohen Eccles? Ashton Funk, another guy on the interior. Can he beat out one of these? Robert Borden, another one. And I don't think you're just guaranteed to start. Okay, I know on paper it looks like that, but I don't think none of these transfers is truly guaranteed. I think Formby will probably be your right tackle. Okay, he started for Alabama, big-time program, multiple year, right guard, right tackle. I'd love to see what A&M can do with him at right tackle, like full-time, what Cushing can do to get the best out. Okay, but Lamont Rogers, I'm not going to discount the fact that he could be playing left guard for you over Cohen Eccles. Okay, those 3 guys feel like really could push for playing time. Sindre Afua, A&M really liked. He was in that first Elko class that he brought in. He got hurt last year. Can he push? I mean, you're just throwing out names at this point, but there's multiple guys who can push for playing time. And it's not just on the offensive line. It's all over this team. Look at defensive tackle. I really like this defensive tackle group because you have no idea what you're going to get. You got DJ Hicks, okay? You got Hicks, and I feel like he's DT1. And that's simple, okay? He was in the rotation last year, played a lot of football. He's the only one left from that group, okay? And now you bring in Brandon Davis-Swain. You bring in Angelo McCullum. You bring in CJ Mims. 3 guys who've played a lot of football in the past 2 years, okay? And then behind them, or they may not even be behind, you got the 3 defensive tackles from last year's recruiting class who I believe all redshirted. Landon Rink may have not, DJ Sanders. Anyways, Landon Rink, DJ Sanders, and Chase Sims, all right? They all redshirted, but now they're going into their first real offseason at A&M, full weight program. And I know they came in the year before, but This is the first, when you've been at A&M and only A&M, you're not coming in from high school, you're not adjusting. How does the offseason treat those three guys? Okay. So, I mean, A&M, they rotate the defense tackles. It could be a three-man or four-man rotation. Can one of those three or multiple of those guys beat out one or two, three of those transfers coming in? There's going to be a lot of competition at defense tackle room. I don't think anybody's really guaranteed playing time. DJ Sanders, he's 6'4", 320, I believe. Okay. And he can move like a gazelle. I watched the film. He can move. All right. And then Landon Ring, strong as an ox. Chase Sims is explosive at the tackle position. Okay. Then Brandon Davis Swain, big body defense tackle. Andrew McCullum, kind of built like Tyler Onyedum. All right. And then CJ Mims, starter in North Carolina. He's believed to be the starter. Okay. I think that's a big time pickup. But I think you just got a lot of competition in that room on what could happen, what could be, what do you have? And I think that's really, really good for this program because, like, it's not going to be light. Okay. It's earned, not given. I mean, that's just coach talk. You know how it is. But a lot of competition up the middle. And it goes for every single position, just about. Linebacker. Look at linebacker. You bring in Ray Coney, okay, multi-year starter. Was at Tulsa last year. He has something to prove. He has a chip on his shoulder. He's coming from a smaller school to a big school, okay? Then you got Noah McHale, the true sophomore linebacker. He started to play a lot more as the season went on, earned his playing time. You got Jordan Lockhart, who's been in the program for a couple years now. Usually they only play two linebackers. Which ones are going to get on the field? Do we see a rotation? You got Damian Sanford running the show. I feel like he's your LB1. And then there's a battle for LB2. Okay. Coney profiles the best to be the LB2. But what if Mikael has one of those off seasons, man? And I'm really high on Noah Mikael. Okay. Great athlete. And he got some playing time as a true freshman. I think that speaks volumes. If you're playing as a true freshman in some way or form on non-special teams, I think that speaks a lot to what you could be. And he was playing, okay? And defensive backfield, you're very, very experienced, all right? I don't know how much position battle is going to be there. I feel like you got Ricky Gibson and Desmond Ricks, Dalton Brooks, and then Ratcliffe and Byard. That's your safeties. And the nickel, you probably got Jordan Shaw, and you got Bryce Anderson. Okay. So there's going to be a lot of little rotation between the safeties and the nickels. But for the most part, I think your secondary is one of the few ones that's actually set now. Like you jump back to receiver. Okay. Craver and Horton, I feel like, are probably your starters there. But then you look at the other receiver spot. You got three of them. You got Bussy, you got Jerome Miles, Kelshawn Johnson, TK Norm. There's multiple guys who can compete for playing time in here. And I mean, you hope it's Bussy. Like, you hope Bussy takes that step, okay? He was hurt kind of last offseason, and then he came in. When he first came in, he was on defense, and he switched the offense, and then he gets hurt in the offseason, and then it kind of delays his progression, I would say. Stay healthy this offseason. What could Bussy be? Because he's a freak athlete, okay? And if you see Terry Bussy reach his potential, it's scary. That could be your X factor that you didn't know was coming, kind of like Mario Craver last year. Like, you didn't know what Mario Craver was truly going to be. Okay, he played a little at Mississippi State as a true freshman, had some big plays, and A&M when they played him. Listen to Mike Elko, listen to Willie talk about him when they played him last year. They felt like he was the best receiver on the field, and you truly felt his speed. And then he comes in A&M, and you've seen his speed. You knew his speed. And you knew he was dangerous and electric. Terry Bussey has that same type of talent. Okay, he can fly. And his talent profile's through the roof. He's a 5-star for a reason, right? So what kind of progression can we see from him? Can you see a big jump? All right, that's what we're looking for this A&M team is big jumps. Because if you get those big jumps, it is dangerous of a team. The floor of it is bad because, yes, you are replacing a lot. But the highs of this team are insane, all right? I've said it in one video before. I truly love what this defense could be. Anto Saka, Marco Jones, TJ Searcy, all right, DJ Hicks, and whichever tackles come with him. That front line could be great. Could even be better than last year. Anto Saka could have a Cassius Howe type jump in the NFL draft. That's the type of player he could be. Okay. So I think the theme of this whole thing is, can A&M players take that production jump, take this offseason, and just stride with it? Man, treat the weight room great. I mean, you know they do. They got Tommy Moffitt, one of the best in the game, to do it. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm really excited. And every fan base kind of really should be. I mean, I'm not going to knock any other team right now. I mean, it's the offseason. You'll know what you're going to get. I mean, A&M very well could be 6-6, or they could be 12-0. You never know. Okay. But I think they have the true talent to go back to the playoffs, and we'll see what happens. Okay. Now, I kind of touched on this a minute ago or a little bit ago because I started rambling. But anyways, every time I post an A&M video, Texas fans in the comments. And I love it. Okay, this is college football. That's a rivalry. Bring it on. Talk their shit, man. Comment on everybody's stuff. It's fun. It's a rivalry. It's what you're supposed to do. Okay? You're supposed to let your rival hear it. You're supposed to come at them. I have no problem with it. I invite all Texas fans. I invite all fans of anybody, of any team that I talk about, come talk your shit. There's nothing wrong with it. This is college football. You're supposed to talk the talk. Okay? Let the players walk the walk. But we can talk it. Okay? Because we're on the side. We ain't on the team. All right? So I invite you all, Texas fans especially, come to my videos and talk crap. I will gladly hear it. I'll gladly talk it back with you. Okay? Because they always seem to become talking. But, and truly, I hope Texas is 11-0 come that last week of the season, rivalry week. And I might get hate for saying that from the Aggie fan. I want Texas to be 11-0. I want Texas to be 11-0 when they play Texas A&M. Because when A&M does beat you, there's no excuse. Oh, we didn't have we had a bad team. No, screw all that. You were 11-0. I want that game to mean everything and more. Okay, because it already means so much. Make it mean more. And these last 2 years, it's meant a lot. Okay, the first year back, both teams had an SEC championship on the line. Texas came out on top. Last year, A&M had an SEC championship on the line. Texas came out on top. All right. I want that game to mean that every year. I want it to mean the absolute most to everything. And if you don't, then I don't, like, if you're just wishing, oh, Texas sucked and A&M blows them out, I don't get that. And the same thing for Texas fans. I don't, like, if you're a Texas fan, you should want A&M to be a really good football team, and then you beat them. That's how it should be. You should want your rivals to be good, so you're not just beating the dog piss out of a shit team. All right? I'd rather go in and beat a damn good team. That's just me, though. And if you don't think like that, then, well, I don't get it. But anyways, it's not like you're rooting for your rival, but you just want them to be good. So when you beat them, it makes it all the more sweeter. Yeah, it's fun to beat a rival 50-0, but at the end of the day, would you rather beat a really good team or just a crappy team? And everybody would love to beat the really good team. We'll see. All right. Let me know what you think on that. Okay. But yeah, and I think that's kind of all what I got for today. But moving forward, we'll be dropping videos on A&M videos on Tuesday, unless something like really big happens that we got to talk about. So Aggie Juice is on Tuesday, and then the Nuke Zone is on Thursday. Okay. Nuke Zone, we go over all things college football, talk about everything. All right. And then Combine's about to start. So I'm going to do a little stuff on that because I love the Combine. I love football, period. I get really invested in everything football, as you can tell. Okay. But I'm winded. I'm out of breath. Anyways, thanks for tuning in to the Aggie Juice. Giggle.